Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and I want to welcome you all to video number 25 of going over the data series. So today we're going to be starting a policy letter called Proper Format and Correct Action, but it's going to go through multiple videos because it's just that long. Today we're going to get about maybe 3.5 pages done. I don't exactly know how long the original document is, but we're going to find out as this goes. So if you want access to any of the flag orders, base orders, volumes, OT levels, any of the other materials I have on the Google Drive folder, feel free to email me at scientologeek@gmail.com with a valid Gmail address, or you can go to the Discord, server link in the description, and then DM me from there with the same thing. Just like I said in data series video number 24, I want to get these stats up for the little birthday game challenge that I'm setting for myself after Mark Headley set his. Again, I know I'm not going to make it. Scientology's subscriber volume is about 80,000, and I'm only at 12 or something as of the time of recording this. But I would love to get this out as far as possible, spread the word, let people know why Scientology is crazy, share these videos, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment just to see if we can get our video a little higher up in YouTube's algorithm. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So let's look at the HCO policy letter of the 17th of February, 1972, called Proper Format and Correct Action.
When doing an evaluation, one can become far too fixated on outpoints and miss the real reason one is doing an evaluation in the first place. To handle this, it's proper form to write up an evaluation so as to keep view the reason one is doing one. This is accomplished by using this form: situation, data, stats, why, ideal scene, and handling. Consistency. The whole of it should concern itself with the same general scene, the same subject matter. This is known as consistency. One does not have a situation about books, data about bicycles, stats of another person, a why about another area, a different subject for ideal scene, and handling for another activity. The situation, whether good or bad, must be about a certain subject, person, or area. The data must be about the same. The stats are of that same thing. The why relates to that same thing. The ideal scene is about the scene of that same thing, and the handling handles that thing, and especially is regulated by that why. A proper evaluation is all of a piece. Situation. First, to do an evaluation, some situation must have come to notice. There's a report or observation that's out of the ordinary. This coming to notice occurs on any line. Usually it's fairly major, affecting a large portion of the area, but it can be minor. So observation in general must be continuous for situations to be noted. To just note a situation and act on it is out of sequence as it omits evaluation. You can be elated or shocked uselessly by noting a situation and then not doing any evaluation. It's the hallmark of a rank amateur or idiot to act on reports without any evaluation. So the first step is noting, from general alertness, a situation exists. A situation is defined as a not expected state of affairs. It's either very good or it's very bad.
Who says it can't be neutral?
If it's very good, it must be evaluated and a why found so one can even upgrade an ideal scene. If it's very bad, it must be evaluated and a why found so that it can be handled to more closely approach the ideal scene. Data. Data is the information one has received that alerts one to the situation. Intelligence systems use various, mainly faulty, methods of evaluating data so as to confirm it.
I'm sure intelligence systems in the 50s and 60s obviously weren't going to be as reliable as they are now. But the fact that he's calling this faulty is, again, Hubbard discarding something completely.
They do this uniformly from reports.
I'm sure there's more than just reports.
No matter how many reports one may see, there's always a question as to their truth. Intelligence chiefs have started most wars, US versus Germany, 1917, or failed to start them in time, US versus Japan, 1936, by depending on authoritative sources, skilled observers, valid documents, and other confetti they class as reports or documents.
What if documents are literally valid? That's not just some quote-unquote report that you can just brush off. There's got to be a way to verify the sources.
As noted above, the raw document, or raw materials as they're called, have led, when accepted, to the most terrifying catastrophes. British Admiral Hall, without permission of the British government, leaked the famous Zimmerman telegram to US President Wilson and stampeded the US into World War I. The alleged German instructions to their US ambassador, intercepted by Hall, were passed on with confidence tricks, and President Wilson, elected to keep the US out of the war, being no great evaluator, dived overboard on one flimsy, questionable report and carried America into the disaster of 2 world wars and a communist supremacy.
I want to know what this questionable report was. But, of course, Hubbard's not going to provide it.
The US was lulled by false Japanese assurances and false data on the smallness of Japanese armaments and considered the country no danger. The true situation would have led to a US declaration of war in 1936. Before Japan could sink the whole Pacific Fleet in one raid and cause 4.5 years of war and open all of China to communist supremacy. These are just a couple of the thousands of disasters in international affairs brought about by a pathetic reliance on reports or documents. If you knew the game well, with a half a dozen agents and a document factory, you could have half the countries of the planet in turmoil, because they rely on reports and, quote, authoritative sources and, quote, expert opinion instead of data as viewed in this data series.
Okay, we call people authoritative sources and we call them expert opinions because they're not made by some amateur. We have reasons to believe as to why they're authoritative or expert. We're not just throwing terms around calling idiots authoritative sources.
If one does not court disaster and failures, one does not rely on reports, but an absence of reports or a volume of reports carefully surveyed for outpoints and counted. To do this, one must be very skilled at spotting outpoints. Most people confuse simple errors with actual outpoints. You can get so good at this, you can recognize outpoints and plus points at a fast glance over reports. Essentially, data regarded from the angle of outpoints is a lack of consistency. Our Div 2 is doing very well, doesn't go with gross income of $2.
Okay, by the way, back to the paragraph with the authoritative sources and expert opinions. And of course, like I said, instead of data as viewed in this data series, Hubbard, if we used your data series instead of reports and authoritative sources and expert opinions, we'd be screwed. I mean, can you imagine going to, like, these foreign countries and trying to do a data analysis or a situation analysis on these countries either A, before, or during the war? Where would you get with it? Are they going to let you in? Are you going to be able to infiltrate them like you did with Operation Snow White? How would you actually get this data to begin with, if not for these reports, authoritative sources, and expert opinions?
This gives you a guideline, the string to pull. See the investigation check sheet on following down things you just don't understand, the first emergence of the data series. So the data you give is not a lot of reports. It's a brief summary of the strings pulled on the outpoint or plus point route to finally get the why. Example, from a situation where an org was going broke. The signups reported for service and new names to central files were both high, yet gross income was down. An investigation of the service area showed no backlogs and no new customers with the staff idle. Tech services was fully staffed. Examine and complement showed no one in the Department of Income. People were signed up, but there was no one to receive the money. The why, of course, was a wrong complement, particularly no cashier and an ED neglecting his duties. On a situation of a stat soaring, the promo department had very down stats with no promo going out. Bulk mail was low, Div 6 was idle, yet the gross income was soaring. Nothing in the org could be found to account for it. Investigation of what promo incoming public had showed that the promo was coming from a lower level org promoting itself as a route to upper level services. The why, of course, was an effective promo campaign being run outside the org, and one could bolster that up and get the org active too. Data, then, is the Sherlock Holming of the trail that gave the why. It at once reflects the command the evaluator has of the data series and his own cleverness. Sometimes they come in a sudden blue flash a yard long, a piece of insight into what must be going on if these outpoints add up this way. Rapid investigation of further data on this trail proves or disproves the flash of insight. One does not run on insight alone or crystal balls. To one not trained and practiced in evaluation, the finding of a real why may look as mysterious as an airplane to an aborigine. It's a fact that people who do not understand evaluation can get the idea that management acts on personalities or whims, or that management has spies everywhere to know that the distribution secretary never came to work. To the expert, it's easy. To the ignorant, it looks very supernatural. It's the trail followed that counts. This is what is required under data.
So we're going to end off here at stats, and then we'll pick it up. This is a long piece. I just can't wait to get this document over with so we can start the next one. I don't look forward to these long readings that span over multiple videos. It kind of feels like everything is a blur after a little while, especially when you're in the same document over and over again. But we covered the type of form that's used when doing a data series evaluation. We covered consistency between components of the evaluation form, making sure everything is related in one way or another. We covered how observation should be continuous, whether reacting to a major or a minor situation. And Hubbard, of course, being Hubbard, trash national intelligence once again, talking about authoritative sources, valid documents, and expert opinion. And at the end of all that, he decides, you know what? They should be using my data series instead. They can't rely on this stuff. This is amateur hour. My stuff is the real stuff. It's so dumb to see him trash legit fields all the time. It's funny, but it's also sad to see what his followers think is correct. I don't really have much to say other than let's get those birthday game stats up before March 13th. Subscribe, like, comment, hit the notification bell. I know I already said that. And I will talk to all of you later. See you.